What is going on, guys? Matt O'Leary back with another video. Today I wanted to go over the best day two options for the New York Jets in the 2025 NFL draft. So I have a few position groups that I'm honing in on for the New York Jets on day two. I have 11 different guys on my list. It's not all the same positions. In fact, the positions that I think the New York Jets should be targeting on day two is wide receiver. Tight end is another one that I think makes a lot of sense. Offensive tackle, depending on if they draft one in the first round or not. Interior defensive line and safety. Those are where the positional groups I'll be talking about, different players who I particularly like on day two at those spots. If you agree, let me know in the comments if there's someone I missed, or if a positional group you think the Jets should potentially target on day two, let me know. But we'll get started with the wide receivers. So let's start with Jaden Higgins, wide receiver out of Iowa State, 6'4", 214 pounds. I'll give a little bit of some notes. I'm not going to do 5 minutes on each guy. We'll be here forever, but a couple of notes on things that I like about each player. He has good speed. He has a good vertical, very sure-handed. His career drop rate is just 3% at the college game, which I think is pretty impressive. Good catch radius. He's consistent. Something else that I like, he's played all over the formation, so inside in the slot and as an outside receiver. I just think he's versatile and one of the better second-round options for the New York Jets. I don't think he'll be a third-rounder. Jack Besh is another player I happen to like a lot at the position who I feel like there's a range. I see him going in either the second or third round. He's a little bit on the smaller side in comparison to Jaden Higgins. He's only 6'1", 214 pounds out of TCU. What I like about him, he's open a ton. He seems to kind of just find the soft spots of the zone. He's good at tracking deep passes. He creates separation easily. And he's just a reliable pass catcher. On third downs, it's like, all right, where's Jack Besh? Because he's getting the football and he's going to convert. And I don't know, there's just something about his game that I really like. He had a big Senior Bowl week and game-winning catch in the Senior Bowl. He's just kind of always around making plays in games at the end when they matter the most. And the last guy, I'm going to go back to Iowa State here, Jalen Noel as my third and final wide receiver that I happen to like. He's more of a slot guy, 5'10", 194 pounds. He has really good footwork at the line of scrimmage. He has crisp routes. He thrives in short to intermediate routes. I think that's where he'll do most of his work, the short stuff over the middle of the field, with which if you're going with Justin Fields, that might actually be a benefit. I know we talk about the Jets wanting to stretch the field, but he's kind of a big play waiting to happen with the ball in his hands. He has 4.39 speed. That was his 40 time. Is good yards after the catch. So I could picture, I always think back to this touchdown that Garrett Wilson had a couple years ago in Dallas where he just ran a little slant route, caught the ball, and was gone. I think Jalen Noel is a similar kind of receiver in that sense where you can kind of just get him the ball over the middle of the field and you blink and he's gone. So he's another guy that I find interesting. That's a little stylistically different than the first two guys that I mentioned. Tight end, I think, is also an important position, and I have Mason Taylor listed. He's out of LSU, 6'5", 251. He's the son of Jason Taylor. Good hands, creates chunk plays, yards after the catch, which is good. He runs good routes. His route tree is pretty expanded for a player of his age, so if you're looking for an immediate impact as a pass catcher, I think Mason Taylor is that. I think probably has a little ways to go as a blocker, but if we're looking for someone who could be a quality receiving threat, I think that would be someone that I would keep an eye on in the second round. Then you have someone like Terrence Ferguson out of Oregon, 6'5", 247. He's a versatile tight end, could be an inline tight end, a slot. Go out wide if need be. He's really good in the red zone. We know how much the Jets struggle in the red zone. And I just think he has reliable hands and is someone that the Jets have met with and a guy that I think makes a lot of sense in likely the third round, probably not the second round. And another third round guy that I really like is out of Texas, Gunnar Helm. He's 6'5", 241. I feel like his stock has fallen a little bit and maybe unfairly because of the NFL Combine, but he's a good route runner. I think he's the best blocker of this group as well. So he's kind of more of a well-rounded tight end, not necessarily like he's just a blocker or he's just a pass catcher. I think he's, fair at both. I think he's solid at both. I don't know if he's going to be has the ceiling that a guy like Mason Taylor has as a receiver, but I think he could be a solid blocker from day one and a plus receiving tight end. To the offensive tackles we go. Arante Ursary, 6'6", 331 out of Minnesota. Now, he played left tackle at Minnesota, so for the Jets, he'd likely have to change sides, go from the left to the right side. But I think he has the athleticism to do it. He's honestly really impressive in the run game. He has prototypical length for a tackle, explosive off the line of scrimmage. If you're trying to find a negative, at times maybe gets a little bit too upright in his stance and could get pushed backwards. But overall, I would say he's a solid blocker. And if you're looking in the second round, like let's say they take Tyler Warren or a receiver or whatever else they do, if you're looking for offensive tackle in round 2, Ursary's probably the best available tackle that will be there in the second, unless Josh Connerly somehow makes it there, but I'm assuming he goes in round 1. My round 3 guy I've talked about a lot, Ozzie Trapilo, 6'8", 316 out of Boston College, versatile player. He played right tackle last year, though, and I think that's where he projects best at the next level. He uses his big frame to his advantage. He's strong in pass pro and has a bit of nastiness in his game, kind of like Talisi Fawunga last year. I feel like nasty would be how I described his game, and I see some similarities in that effect of how they play with a little bit of edge to their game, which I think kind of fits this team's identity. Let's go to the defensive side of the ball. Tyleik Williams out of Ohio State, 6'3", 334 pounds. He's one of the best run stoppers in this draft, in my opinion. He made Bruce Feldman's freak list, which usually goes to someone who's just like insanely athletically gifted. Great lateral agility, which is important, making plays behind the line of scrimmage. And then I'm going to give you another one, nasty in the run game. Are you noticing a trend here? There's a reason why I keep bringing guys up who play with that little bit of edge to their game. If I'm trying to find Aaron Glenn guys, which that's my assumption. We don't know. They haven't had a draft yet. So the reality is we have zero idea how they're going to evaluate players. But based on some of the things that he said, I think speed and physicality are two things that he really cares about, which is why I keep trying to find guys and look for prospects that play with that edge to their game, and Tyleik Williams would fit that bill. I got 2 for you at safety. The first is Xavier Watts, 6 foot, 204 pounds out of Notre Dame. He's more of a ball hawking guy. He has elite ball skills, which the Jets don't really turn over guys very often. He has the, ability to jump routes, and he's got good closing speed and coverage. He's not the biggest guy. In fact, for a safety, that's honestly a touch on the smaller side, but his speed and ball skills is one of the reasons why he's likely to be a second round pick. And Kevin Winston Jr., hard to say where he goes in the draft. I'm going to guess third round. But he's a bit bigger at 6'2", 215 pounds out of Penn State. He was hurt this year. Otherwise, to me, easy top of the second round guy. This is someone who's elite as a run defender, plays with, quote, controlled violence. When, after watching some tape, this is why he made it for me, is the playing with a bit of nastiness. But I was also reading some scouting reports, and something that kept coming up was controlled violence. And I was like, I like that. That's something that makes a lot of sense. He sheds blocks well. He's very physical. I think Winston personally is a better fit than Watts. But if you're nervous about the medicals, then Watts would be the day 2 safety that I would target. So those are the positional groups that I think make the most sense for the Jets, and some of the guys on day 2 that I think, 1, are my guys and guys that I happen to like, but 2, guys who I think Aaron Glenn could potentially like for his football team. Let me know your thoughts. I'm Matt O'Leary. I'll catch you next time.